Good morning, folks. This is Tim Ealer. How you doing this morning? About 4:30 in the morning, Eastern Time, 6th of October. Happy Monday. Um, hey, we're still talking about the tropics, and that's October. So let's get right to it here. We have our disturbance AL 95L out here in the tropical Atlantic, forecast to generally move in this direction here. We have a lot of disturbed weather in the near the Yucatan Peninsula this morning, as long as offshore Florida here. Um, Good chance that back to 95L that it will develop into at least a depression, tropical storm as it moves generally in direction of the Lesser Antilles. And we have some possibilities of development in this area here as well in the next several days. However, as I'll show you in a few minutes, the system that may develop along the Florida coast is probably not going to be fully tropical in nature. I think it's going to be an extratropical cyclone that may move up the coast here and impact the weather um, in the next several days. Okay. Uh, Generally, you can see almost a high pressure building in this way with maybe it looks like a lot of defluence right now, right here in the Eastern, Western Caribbean, excuse me. So, you know, never can rule out something developing here as well. So, what is the latest probabilities here according to the European um, ECWMF? ECMWMF. Sorry about that. Uh, Developing the depression. Now, these probabilities are nearing 80, 90% here in the western tropical Atlantic, southwestern, you would call it maybe, main development region still. Um, Off the coast of Florida, we talked about that a second ago. I really think this is going to be non-tropical, maybe subtropical, but I'll show you in a minute about that. The probabilities as you get higher up are in the blue and purples. Relatively high probability somewhere here in the Yucatan Peninsula in the short term. Uh, Looks like Central American gyre action going on here. Let's move this through time. You can see high probabilities still. This includes Genesis, right? So tropical depression forming probabilities nearing 90%, 80. So don't be surprised if the National Hurricane Center bumps this up, right? Excuse me. Moving through time here, you can see this probabilities move up the coast here, right? Again, I think that's going to be non-tropical. And we had some probabilities back in the MDR, but quite low. And move through time, we start to get more probabilities back here in the Western Caribbean and generally in the subtropical Atlantic, which I think may be non-tropical, but this is 15 October. All right, so in the short term, let's just focus on these areas here and here, right? Okay. The latest from the National Hurricane Center is at 2 a.m. Let's move this up a little bit. 50% chance of this developing in the next 2 days to depression, and 70% in like 7 days. You can see it's approaching 10 degrees north latitude. slowly gaining latitude over time, right? And if it does get stronger, it'll start to feel the westerlies more, or the upper level flow. And most storms, as they gain latitude, of course, will turn further north, especially if they're stronger, right? So we've seen this numerous times this year. It kind of brushes the Caribbean islands. And still could impact Bermuda or the Caribbean. With no, there's no certainty, 100% certainty just yet. Until we get a depression form, we'll have a better idea of initial position, and model guidance will be more accurate. Okay. All right. So, what's the satellite look like for 95L? Looking relatively healthy right now. This is a geocolor um, night slash day visible, right? So nighttime shortwave, almost to the point where we got visible um, satellite, but looking relatively healthy here. Some outflow in this direction. General cyclonic turning. Looks like the wave axis is right about here. Not certain. Doesn't. It's possible that we may already have a low level circulation here, but yeah. So just about able to see the visible, right? So that's pretty cool. Moving on to the models. Everybody wants to know where this thing's going to go, right? So this is the Google DeepMind. This is initialized. We got it starting 3 days from now. Okay. Some members want to bring the system closer to the Caribbean islands. A lot of them take it to the north, and eventually they all go to the north here. And we have Google DeepMind with that low um, off the southeast coast here that I still think will be extratropical in nature, not tropical. Okay, so this is the other Google DeepMind machine learning model. Almost all the members want to take it north of the Caribbean islands, but get very close. So the midline of it is probably right about here. So take that from what you will, but most take it to the east of Bermuda, and that extratropical low off the southeast coast there. Let's go a little bit further out, 15, 16. This is pretty far out here. So um, let's back this up a little bit. The GFS really wants to still do something possibly here around the Central American coastline, Yucatan Peninsula, which I would say is not a possibility given what I saw on satellite today. We'll just have to see what happens there. Go through time. GFS has quite a few members that may impact the Caribbean islands, but also a lot that'll take it to the north, right? GFS really wants to do something, has a lot of members showing development of something off the coast here. But again, I think it's going to be extratropical, okay? And beyond that, we get 7 days out. Really uncertain at that point after that, right? So I'm just going through all this so y'all have all the information, okay? This isn't a forecast. As my friend Mitch West says, we're just showing the possibilities of something developing. It doesn't, you know, nobody can predict, much less the experts, where exactly something's going to go. So the better informed you are, the better decisions you can make, all right? So going through the 9th, 10th for the European ensembles. That being said, I think that we're going to get a depression or storm develop out here. I don't see any reason why we won't. Just depends how strong it gets, exactly where it goes. Okay. and but it looks to me like most models agree it's going to curve back out to sea pretty quickly here. There is some support later on in the European for something maybe developing in the Caribbean Sea, east of Yucatan, right? But that's pretty far out. So, what do the hurricane models show? This is the HWRF parent model. Um, latest initialization at 6C. Strong hurricane just to the north of Lesser Antilles there. Okay. Yeah. 940 millibar, that's probably Cat 3, Cat 4 at that point, if that comes to pass. HMON, the latest HMON hurricane model strengthens it for a while. Then as it gets towards the Caribbean Sea, it weakens it quite a bit. And if we look at the relative humidity, it looks like it entrains a bunch of drier air here. We'll see if that scenario plays out or not, but that's that model. Have say, another hurricane model. Once you develop it, right, and then brush the northern Lesser Antilles there, and then strengthen it quite a bit to 945 millibar, arguably Cat 3 or 4 hurricane. Has B, not quite as strong. They look at the lower dynamics, precipitation, and moisture. It's not even, it's totally opposite of what HWRF thinks. So we're just going to have to see how that plays out. All right. What do the global models show? GFS. See, it takes it to the north of the Lesser Antilles, develops that extratropical low, looks like off the east coast, and wants to like sling it back around into the mid-Atlantic, right? And some Central American gyre action going on here. We've just been trying to form something like this all season. Nothing's ever happened, so I find it. I mean, even though it's possible, I just don't trust the GFS with this. All right, so that's pretty far out anyway. That's 22nd of October. So European model. We got AL95, 95L out here, moving through the flow. Energy. Operational run doesn't do anything with it. And the European doesn't do much of anything more, although all these models do develop this low off here. It's just it looks extratropical to me. I know I keep saying that, but could it develop tropical characteristics? Very possible, but we'll just see. European AI model. There's 95L. doesn't really want to develop it until it goes right over the Haiti, goes much further west than near Bermuda. Okay, 16th of October, which is 10 days from now. Canadian, have your 95 out here, tropical storm, possibly right north of the Caribbean islands. It's picked up by this larger storm, larger weakness, right, and slung to the east of Bermuda. And it does want to develop something here in the Caribbean Sea as well. Move to the north, and then maybe something else later on, but that's pretty far out. Lots of models here. Icon, what's it going to do? Icon brings it generally the same way. 95L develops out low off the southeast coast. And doesn't do much with 95L either. So, although the ensembles definitely want to develop, I can see a lot of agreement. Some of the operational runs just aren't too bullish about it. So, my opinion, if we once we get a depression form, I think the models are either, if and when a depression forms, that one will have a better feel for the intensity and track for sure. So initialization, location, time really helps with forecast models on track and things like that. So that being said, I hate to say it, but we got to wait and see till it develops, right? And then we'll go from there. Uh, we're moving on to the Continental U.S., I should say. This is the infrared satellite loop showing where the most convection is here. Ongoing enhancement here all along this area right now. And we look at it's really not like high cloud tops you see compared to the greens right there. Compared to like down here, you see the oranges and reds, deeper, colder cloud tops. This is down here, it's more stratiform type precip, just and clouds, right? Um, Up here, there's more heavy rain. You can see that on the radar. We bring the radar up over here, kind of just north, southwest, and northeast orientation of this. Could lead to some flooding concerns, as well as if this maintains itself along the Mississippi, Louisiana, right? So, the water vapor loop gives you a good idea of what the flow is too. You can see where the most moisture is with the whites here, and a lot of drier air at the mid levels in the Western Gulf, in the central part of the U.S. and offshore of the Northeast again. They've been dry just like the Southeast has. The Southeast has been like overcast and cooler, but not a lot of heavy rainfall. Just overall, just nice outside. So here is the current radar on from the WeatherWise app. It shows a little bit better the lower level moisture here, overriding precipitation, just light rain in general. But here into Louisiana, Mississippi, some heavier rain, and of course this rainfall up in here, right? So other than that, there's not a lot going on. Of course, along the Florida coast as well. That being said, we'll move on to the Excessive rainfall outlook. Take this off. So let me. I don't know why it does this sometimes. Frustrating. All right. Excessive rainfall. Uh, Interesting. Today through 12Z. It's weird because there's not a lot going on. I don't understand that. Well, apparently the most rainfall is expected in this general area today, right? A slight risk along the lower Mississippi Valley, probably due to this. Let's start this up again. A boundary setting up like right in here as this pushes this way. All right. Well, this is till 12Z, which is 8 a.m. Right. So move to day 2, which is the rest of today and tomorrow. Moves a little further to the east. I'm really surprised they don't have a risk up here in the middle part of the country. It's quite surprising. But anyway, for tomorrow, today through tomorrow, a bullseye here in the Ohio Valley, Tennessee Valley, Pennsylvania, and New Mexico. And then a real small marginal risk here for a Monday through Tuesday. Not Monday, Tuesday through Wednesday. Today is Monday. Lord, I'm struggling this morning. And then in the desert southwest, day 4, of the marginal risk here. And for day 5, some moisture returning to the southeast coastline here and in the desert southwest for day 5. Let's stop the radar here. If we look at the severe weather outlook for today, take the radar off. No expected significant severe weather today, just general thunderstorms in the green areas. Again, for day 2, which is tomorrow, same thing. Day 3, we have a frontal boundary pushing southward here, so likely that's what we're seeing here. Okay, so not a lot going on with severe weather either. So expected rainfall. Let's go back to day 1 here. Well, this is where the biggest bullseye is. You can see that excessive rainfall outlook. Why it is there. Expected 2, possibly 3 inches of rain through to tonight and tomorrow. Okay, if not higher amounts. Okay, and then some in New Mexico, middle part of the country. Other than that, dry out west. That area stays kind of in the bullseye here for day 2, which is Tuesday, right? And then you have some more precip out here in the middle part of the country. The southeast still is dry, and some moisture on the Florida coast, the Gulf Coast, all the way up in the northeast, all the way up into Canada. And day 3, the moisture pushes offshore. Still some enhanced rainfall in the desert southwest. Monsoon season is kind of hanging on there. So that's that, right? When we look at the overall flow, all right, go back here. This is the mid-level flow pattern. Okay. You see the southerly flow here we got going on. Trough building like this. All right. Move through time here. There we go. A mid-level high hanging on the east coast, right? And a cutoff low developing off the west coast. This trough kind of swings out to the north. You have high pressure building in the middle part of the country. And this is GFS modeling, right? You have a cutoff low or low coming on the west coast. You have another cutoff low looking like it develops on the east coast, right? And that's where that system we were talking about might develop off the east coast here um, in the longer term, right? And you have a pretty stout ridge right off the coast here and a low dipping south here, bringing more unsettled weather to the northern tier. And in the long term, the GFS wants to develop this high pressure system along the Gulf Coast here and at the mid levels, which could favor um, the CAG Central American gyre developing with that westerly flow this way, right? We'll have to look at the lower levels as well. But that upper low stays firmly entrenched off the east coast, which is going to prevent any tropical system from, if they gain latitude, from impacting the east coast of the U.S. All right. We move at the lower levels here. See high pressure at near the surface, just off the coast here. Kind of gets pushed out a little bit. And then high pressure at the surface builds in right over the east coast, right? Gets pushed southward. In general, you still have high pressure here, but maybe see that broad low right off the coastline there, and there's this is the 12th. This would be, if it does develop, that would be Jerry out there. Right, so, and you see this maybe surface feature developing off the coast here. We'll just have to see what happens there as well. All right, so here's your current hazards going on today. Mostly winter weather related. Freeze warning, freeze watch for large portion of the, well, not a large portion, but most of North Dakota on their freeze warning. Wyoming freeze warning, freeze watch. Intermountain West, some of the areas in the mountains, right? And you have dense fog advisory down in here in Wyoming, and some flood watches along the Florida coast again, and flood warning, flash flood warning here in Louisiana, right? Uh, so for the next 48 hours, what's the reflectivity going to look like? Simulated radar, okay? Let's go. Yeah, there we go. Next 48 hours. See where we show the most moisture here and off the southeast coast as well. Going through time. Boundary setting up right here. You see the enhanced rainfall all along the Appalachians, moving to the northeast. So, and then you have some rainfall down here in the desert southwest. Likely coming from tropical origins, coming from maybe the tropical systems off the eastern Pacific coast. So, other than that, not a lot going on. This front, you could see this high pressure building into the north here. And that 540 line is pretty close here, which is denotes in general the freezing line, freezing level, 540. So, so what is the temperatures going to be for the next Sunday? Go through this real quick. This always does this. Uh, all right, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Pretty warm on the Gulf Coast still, into desert Southwest. Warming back up into the northern tier, 50s, 60s, 70s, 50s in the Northeast, right? Warming back up in the middle part of the country with that high pressure building into the central part of the country, right? You see where the warmest temperatures are, right in here. Okay. As far as minimum temperatures go, let's go back to the start here. Quite cold in the northern tier of the U.S. It pushes to the south. Doesn't quite make it to the Gulf Coast, but you see lows next Saturday in the 50s for the good portion of the country, 40s for the Northeast, 40s. Warmest temps relegated to the Gulf Coast and the desert Southwest here. And then we get till next Sunday. Quite nice overnight. Even in the warmer areas in the 60s and overnight, which isn't terrible, but um, I could live with that. So that's it for today, guys. Hope y'all enjoyed this video. I'm on a little struggle bus today. Sorry for it not being as crisp as normal, but it's one of them days. Hope y'all have a great day.